Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. I am so excited to be in this space like always. It's been a while, and I'm really looking forward to our continued conversations that we have, hoping to impact, inspire, and motivate others to become the best versions of themselves, because it's all possible. But tonight is going to be a special night because I'll be having a conversation with the CEO of Soul City Network. He wears many hats. He doesn't need an introduction, so I am going to invite Mr. Matt McCoy here on the stage for him to reintroduce himself and really tell us who he is. But before we get into that, I also wanted to acknowledge and highlight that May is actually Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And this is so important for us to have dialogues around men and what it is that they're feeling. It's time for our Black men to stop suffering in silence, right? According to studies, right, and research, depression is one of the most common mental health disorders that's affecting over 17 million people in the US, right? So, and it's also the third leading cause of death, suicide, among our Black men, ranging from age 15 to 24. This is a huge problem that we are currently having. Our Black men need to know it is okay to say you're not okay and seek the help that you will need. And it's also for us sisters, right, to provide that safe space for our Black brothers to be vulnerable. I've said this many times on the show. Our vulnerability is our strength. And oftentimes, we have to be broken and things must fall apart for us to put it together. But one of the biggest things, and I'm urging and encouraging, whether it's your brother, it's your uncle, it's your friend down the road, whomever it is, encourage our brothers to talk about what it is they are feeling. It's bad enough our Black men, some of them, they don't even want to go and get checked out physically. I say this all the time. Yearly, we go and we get our physical. What are we doing to check in with how we are feeling internally? Because oftentimes the answers that we're looking for, it lies within us. And with stress causes a lot of other physical ailments that we all go through. But tonight, it's about our brothers. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Mr. Matt McCoy, the man who wears many hats.
Uh-oh, here I am. What's going on, Marie?
I am feeling incredible and honored to have you in this space tonight. Just sit down with
Thank
me.
you.
You got so much that you have to do. So,
Oh,
welcome.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, why don't you just tell the viewers who you are? Although people know, but it's not. It's okay. It's worded for new viewers, right?
Yeah, well, okay. Well, my name is Matt McCoy. I am the CEO and founder of the Soul City Network, born and raised in New York City, from the Boogie Down Bronx, home of hip hop, getting ready to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And I am just a man on a mission to do good things, to do things for the community, to uplift the community, to help people, and just to be bold. I'm just out here trying to be bold.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And you know, it's so important and impressive that you're just here to be bold and to make a difference, to impact and inspire others, right? But before we get to our bold, I think one of the most important things that we want to highlight here, and we want to like really dive into, how do you take care of yourself?
You're asking the wrong person that question. I know a bunch of people probably listening to you right now. Yeah, go ahead, say something. Uh, uh, you know what? And it is so true that I try to take good care of myself. I try to eat right and do the right things with my diet and what have you. But you know, that's a woo. I gotta think of a little bit because taking care of our health is one thing, and we feel good, we look good, we're okay. But then again, as you talked about, it is mental health awareness month for men, and I think mentally is where a lot of men probably do fall short. We do believe there is a lot of things on our shoulders that we don't deal with or don't talk about enough. So physically, some of us look good and we feel good, but you know, mentally, there could be a lot going on that is stressful. I know I deal with stress all day, every day, and I thought I was pretty good at managing stress until I started Soul City, and that became a whole other world. Uh, but it's fun again. I learned to laugh to deal with my stress. So for me, dealing with the stress is really trying to find an outlet, whether it's watching sports on TV, whether it's laughing and telling jokes. I was a class clown, so um, I think I still am. It's still in me. But yeah, But ask me another question because I had to think about that first.
That's okay. It's okay. We could put stuff in the parking lot, and
Oh yeah, park it up.
yeah, we could put it in the parking lot, right? But that's also a form of empowerment as well, for you to actually say, you know what, I need to think about it some more. And I think for our Black men, like tonight, this conversation, it's about normalizing
Hmm.
saying that they're not okay.
Mm.
Because just like us women, we will say we're not okay. I don't see the big difference for men, but I do understand because of socialization and the
Hmm.
expectations from society. You said that earlier, that men, Black men, I'm focusing on Black men tonight, um, you carry a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter being the head of the household, and no matter what you're going through, there is that expectation to continue to provide financial stability, emotional stability for the family. But who is checking in with you? And
Hmm.
the whole idea is for our men to start taking a pause, because it starts with acknowledgement, being able to check in with yourself and say, hey, this does not feel right. Can I process this with someone? And then
Hmm.
there's also that fear of talking to someone. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat
Oh, here we go.
because you're being bold tonight, right? Um,
Good.
and you know what? You're setting an example, because a lot of our youths, they will look up to you. So you got to lead by example,
Hmm.
right? So,
Hmm.
was there ever a time in your life where you felt that you hit rock bottom, or things was just like not going right for you? What did
Hmm.
that feel like? And who did you turn to get through that moment?
The answer is yes. Um, but the answer is yes many times. I think men in general, I think people in general, but since we're talking about black men, I will just speak for myself and for maybe other black men. Um, Life is sometimes a bouncing ball where you hit bottom often. It's how you bounce back. It's how you bounce back. Do you bounce back? I think as a black male, as we all know, we have a lot of pressures on us. You mentioned some of them: social pressures, it's family pressures, it's dating pressures, whatever it is that you have to go through. You go through it, and you learn to put on a tough exterior. You know, you put on a Teflon coat, or whatever it is, and steel metal jacket to try and ward off the bullets coming your way, figuratively and literally. Um, so there's a lot to deal with, and I think if we don't find the joy within us, then that becomes the hard part for us to cope. A lot of people can't find the joy in their life. They've never discovered it, or they don't believe it's attainable. Um, and I think that's where your relationship with God comes to play, and your understanding of life and God and so forth and so on comes into play. If you understand, I don't think my friends, I had a good friend of mine say something the other day that I never stopped dreaming. I never stopped creating. I can't. That's part of my nature because that's the God spirit in me to create, to keep doing things. And, I think if you stop dreaming, you're dead. Once you stop dreaming, you're dead. There's always something for me to create and something for me to do. So I will do it. I will find a way to do it. And I won't stop until I figure it out if it brings me joy. If it's something that does not bring me joy and I don't want to waste my time with it, I won't do it. But, me even creating Soul City was probably the hardest thing in my life I've ever done. Um, it's one of the most fun things I've ever done, and the most interesting things I've ever done. But it's probably one of the most hardest and stressful things I've ever done. I've done a lot of things in life, but this is pretty stressful. But I learned to deal with it.
Got it. Thank you so much for your response. You said that was really a loaded response. Um, but I think one thing I want to push a little further with you. So you talk about it's okay. You said you wanted to be bold and you're in a hot
That's
seat.
okay. I don't mind. I can
Um,
take it.
you talked about joy,
Hmm.
finding joy in whatever it is that we do. What do you say to someone who doesn't even understand what joy is? Because they've
Hmm.
never felt that. Earlier you and I we were talking, and I wear many hats like you, and as a clinician, as a social worker, I see and I hear so much horrific stories that our black men experience, the trauma, and that
Hmm.
trauma sets and it festers up and eventually it explodes and or it manifests itself in maladaptive ways. And this is where we have the drug abuse, right?
Hmm.
We have the domestic violence, we have the sexual abuse, because
Hmm.
that's the trauma that was
Hmm.
held, that was
Hmm.
never addressed. So to hear you talk about this joy, how did you discover this joy? Like, how did you arrive at that place? Because some people are so hopeless. They can't see this light. You talked about God. Some people don't have faith.
Hmm.
And we'll take it back. Some men, they don't have faith. They have lost faith along the way. So, can
Hmm.
you probably share some insights as to what worked for you in the past um, along this journey?
Well, I think we all have to find a memory in us that brought us joy. There's always something in life that makes you smile. Something is going to make you smile. Nobody goes around life without smiling at all. Um, so once we remember what that is that made us smile, try to find it again. and try to relive that moment, even if it's just internal. Um, and then realize, for me, I wake up every morning. I woke up this morning full of joy because I'm alive. I'm still here. I still have an opportunity to do something, to do something better, to do something different, to just be and just to enjoy life. So I'm here. I realize that there's a lot of other people, tons of people, unfortunately, in the world who aren't even nowhere in the situation I'm in. And they are really struggling. They are really having. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my stomach. I had, food in the refrigerator. I have clothes on my back. I have great friends. I'm surrounded by great friends and people. And I think that part there, and I'm gonna jump to that part real quick since I mentioned it just now. Having a circle of people around you is really important. Um, Having people around you that you can depend on and that really care about you and really care about who you are and what you feel and what you believe and are supportive of you, that is very, very important. Um, a lot of people don't have that. And that might lend towards them not having joy in life or not being able to find joy. But that's one thing I will thank God for. I have the best friends in the world, the best support team in the world, and that helps me. That helps me deal with my ups and downs. When the ball doesn't want to bounce back up sometimes, and there's times when there's, trust me, there are times when that ball hits that concrete, and I don't want to bounce up. It hurts. You know, and but I bounce back up because I know I have a team around me who makes me bounce up and the team around me who is always there to be a part of my ups and downs, my trials and tribulations, and they will, keep me going. They'll say something, or they'll make me say something. They know because I was a class clown. There's going to be something that's going to come up, and it's just natural for me. I have to say something funny or make them laugh or do something, and that brings me joy. Just doing that sometimes. And I think sometimes they do things on purpose just to make me say something. But and then again, you got to find that God energy, saying within you. I know God put me on this earth for a reason. She put me here so that I can be amazing. And there's no excuse for me not to be amazing. And that doesn't mean I am the only amazing person in the world. There are millions of amazing people. All of us should be amazing at some point in our lives and should do something amazing. So, I'm no different from anybody else. The only difference for me is that I will seek that joy continuously. I will keep the faith that I can keep moving and keep doing what I need to do. And that no matter what happens, it's going to work. I'm going to make it work no matter how hard it is. I am going to make it work, because if I don't, Marie will call me in the morning and say, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And you got to be bold. So we do it.
Awesome. Mayor of Soul City. I love that, Dr. B.
Yeah, that's my sister Yana. She that is the joke. That is one of the jokes. My title is the CEO, but I'm the mayor of Soul City because I am the the long-standing mayor. So I'll be mayor for quite a while.
Got it. Just now you said so much that stuck to me. But I think I'm going to push a little bit more. Because, and I'll put it on myself as well, right? Because I'm someone who is healed. And so I could be bold. And I know I'm the most amazing person in the whole wide world because I never compare myself with anyone, right? Benita Johnson, we're all amazing. Matt, you're right. We have just allowed negative conditioning and perfect with that. I could not have said that better, right? But it's, and having that social and emotional support is so important.
It is. It really is.
And when you think about poverty breeds so much issues. And sometimes we don't have that listening ear. You have people out there, they have no one that they can trust to turn to. because that's another big thing. When you are facing enough hardships as life offers, right? And then when you couple that with that social isolation, that's a whole
Mhm.
recipe for disaster. You know, before I used to be like, I never understood how people could harm themselves and take their own
Mhm.
lives, right?
Mhm.
I don't agree with it, but I understand how this is the possibility of this happening.
Mhm.
When and how did you really connect to that spiritual side of you and connecting to God and knowing that you are here to be amazing? How did you arrive there?
I mean, I want to say I was born with it, but I mean, we're all born with it. So that's a little simple to say that. But I remember growing up, my grandmother was my rock. My grandmother, I love my grandmother to death. She, was amazing in her own right. Everything I've learned how to do, I learned from her. She saw in me, my mother was a single mother, working hard to raise the kids, and there's seldom home because sometimes she's working three jobs to, and especially for me because I guess I was not saying anybody else wasn't, but there was something special in me that everybody saw, I think. And so my mother worked hard to put me into the best schools in the city because I was pretty smart, and to make sure I could go to the best schools and make sure I was singing and playing since I was a kid. I'm a guitarist. And to make sure that I played in bands since I was like 14, 15, but even when I was a kid, she made sure if I wanted a guitar, I got a guitar. I got the best ones out there, so I can learn how to play. Um, um, she made sure I was very much involved with sports. Play football, basketball, baseball all year round. Football in particular was my major sport. But she made sure that I could do that. She made sure that I could whatever it is that I wanted to do that I could do. But my grandmother was the one that was home with me all the time. So when I came home from school, she was there. Um, um, and she was the one, God bless her. She was the one who kind of laid the spiritual foundation for me to let me understand that I was special and that God put me here for a reason. Even my full name is Matthew that I never use, but so my family still calls me Matthew. And some of my friends actually still do call me Matthew. I was with some friends of mine this weekend at a friend's mother's funeral, and some of them still call me Matthew. I was laughing. I said, nobody calls me that. And I was saying so, but even my name Matthew means gift of God. And I never forgot that I have to be a gift to people. That was my calling to be here, to be a gift to people, to do something, whether it's to make you laugh or to give you encouragement, whatever. But again, my grandmother instilled that in me. I mean, I never forget her every day coming down with her Bible and getting me and my sisters to read the Bible and stuff, and church on Sundays and Sunday school and what have you, until I got older, and I was too busy. I wasn't too busy. I was, sports on Sundays and football, whatever. So, I kind of got excused, but I still had that spiritual foundation. And as I got older, I started looking at other spiritual things and ways of life, martial arts, of course. I studied, Tao Ching and all other, Chinese what do you call it, philosophies and everything. So I got pretty grounded spiritually in a lot of in a good way of who I was. And but that was my grandmother, and I always lean on her. She was the person who really I am who I am today because of her. I actually cook very well. I actually cook very well, and she taught me how to cook. It was her who taught me how to cook. I always wanted to learn. I didn't want anybody to cook for me or to do anything for me. I said I want it now. I want people to cook for me. And now you can cook for me all day long, But um, I wanted to learn how to do so. So my grandmother taught me how to cook. She taught me what to do, and so she was the person who I probably digressed from your original question, but she was the one I always got to go back to her, saying, yeah, it was her that led me down the path that I'm on now, and to always think of other people, always try to find a way to help other people because she helped people a lot and did a lot. So, That's why I think that's part of my lifestyle is to find a way. Even now, even with Soul City, we have a project that's called Embrace Community, and my Embrace Community project is the Soul City's way of giving back to the community. In a lot of ways, that's a whole nother conversation for different day. But it's a big thing for me because if I get, I give. And I've always been that way. And I'm surrounded by people who are actually the same way. I am what I am now because of my team, my support team. My sister Yana, she's the God bless her. She's probably put up with the most of me. But she and I have been through a lot, stuff. We've been in business together and have done some really big things that people know us for. But that's what, we started the poetry thing, what was it, 1998? And everybody knows us for spoken word. What we did for spoken word, and became the largest spoken word company in the country. And that was fun. And then that just what spawned, Soul City. I needed more. I needed to do more, and got TV with it because I had an opportunity to go to TV with the poetry stuff too. But I wanted to own the TV network, and I had an opportunity. It came and fell in my lap, and so. It's always been something that's built, upon me. I mean, when I was 18 years old, and I'm rambling right now. I know I am, but stop me when you get enough. I remember when I was 18, I was a manager of a good friend of mine who was a magician. He was a black magician, one of the only black magicians out there that I can think of back in the days, forever ago. I'm not going to date myself. This is long ago. And I never forget, we did a show at the in Harlem at Small's Paradise in Harlem on 35th Street, which is now, I think that's the school for boys on 35th Street and 7th Avenue. And it was a major club, and it was probably a few years before it closed officially. But I did a show there, and on the show with us was Cap Calloway. And, so I'm 17, 18 years old. And here's this man who I knew because I grew up in the music industry. My uncles played with a lot of jazz cats. I knew a lot about music. And I said, Cap Calloway, he's here. Or what else? So Cap took hours talking to me at the club. I'll never forget it to this day. I always tell people that's probably one of the most memorable parts of my life. I'll never forget him talking to me about the industry, what to do, what not to do, who to watch out for, so on and so on. He had to be 100 years old. I don't know how old he was old, but he was in there and he took the time. I'll never forget that, which is why I take the time to talk to people, because people like him took the time to talk to me. Him, George Benson, I can name some names of people who took time to sit with me. George Benson took time to come meet with me at one of my restaurants in Harlem and sit with me and drink at the bar with me, and we drank cognac together. And him talking to me about the music industry, about entertainment industry. So those things I remember when they did that for me. So I do it for others. So continue on. Just stop me because I'll go on. And you have questions that need to answer. So go ahead.
Not necessarily. It's just a conversation that we're having. But you said something that's so profound.
Mm-hmm.
You had a solid foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You had a grandmother, and of course a mother who believed in you and supported you. And as you got older, you have this unbreakable bond with your sister,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Jana, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for folks who are listening to us tonight, they also need to understand, and I strongly believe in this, that oftentimes things will fall apart and must
Mm-hmm.
fall apart,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when our strength will be tested.
Yep.
And it also gives us an opportunity to figure out who we are. Because another thing that I love about you with your confidence just now is just like saying that you're amazing. And I think if we take a step back and start honoring who we are and
Mm-hmm.
recognize our innate powers that we hold,
Mm-hmm.
and stop looking externally for answers, because every answer we need lives
It's
within
inside.
us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
That's so true.
And a lot of times people focus on putting on material things and they are hiding everything. But if your inside is not clean, and we could
Mm-hmm.
talk about gut health, right? If your inside is not clean, it doesn't make a difference. So we
Mm-hmm.
got to work internally, inside out, to get
Mm-hmm.
the outcome that we desire. But again, it goes back to just taking that step to say, I need to fix me because something is not right.
Mm-hmm.
And folks also need to understand that we can consistently recreate who we are. We could design the
Mm-hmm.
person that we want to be. And like you said, it takes practice. It's something that you have to keep remaking over and over. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you talk about that bond with your sister, and I want to dive
Mm-hmm.
into that because a lot of times our black men, they get so distracted from having that sibling relationship that they should nurture that would also help them to grow as a man. Talk
Mm-hmm.
more to me about your influence that your sister, Dr. Jana, had on you growing up and even now in your business, because you talk about business partners. Like,
Mm-hmm. Well, her influence me really is more in my adult life. Um, that's when she and I really clicked, and really came to made stuff start working. And she's probably between her, my friend Benny, and Jasmine. You know Jasmine as well. Those are my three biggest supporters. And but Yana is the one who's always there. She's the one who beats me up if I'm not doing something right, um, or she lifts me up if I need to be lifted up. She's always there to help if I need something, make something happen. Of course, we all know who she is, the brilliance that she is in the financial world, and I wouldn't be where I am and able to do what I'm doing if it wasn't for her. Um, and she's probably laughing right now because do I listen all the time? No, I will go rogue and do my own thing. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, and then she comes back and like, mm-hmm, and then she'll fix it if need be. But again, her bringing an influence in my life, not only just from the monetary end and just being my sister and whatever, but from the spiritual end. Because we both subscribe to the same spiritual situation. So it's a spiritual bond that you don't have with others. Even with Jasmine, it's a spiritual bond with Jasmine. She's my other huge supporter. Without Jasmine, I couldn't. I tell people, without Jasmine, this Soul City would fall apart. She is a good part of why Soul City even stays afloat a lot. Because she does what I can't do, or she does what I can do, and she steps in and does it when it needs to be done. And of course, everybody loves Jasmine. We're gonna do a show with her. Just everybody loves Jasmine. Like everybody loves Raymond. Everybody loves Jasmine. They call me just to talk to her. And let me talk to Jasmine and stuff. So, but again, I'm back to that. Like I can't say it enough. That team with people. My sister. Being the top of the team. Being the captain of the team, but all of them without, her, Jasmine, and my friend Vinny, who was my best friend. Mm, I don't know. I don't know if I could sustain this because, you have a lot of tearful nights and tearful days, dealing with the stress and the pressure of what you have to do, and especially what I do because it's so demanding and it's timely and it's dealing with 1,000 different people who don't want to deal with you because you're black. That's a whole nother story. When I write my book, the racism that is in the media world, such as a black man trying to do something that not too many people have done, and still a white man's game, and then doing it your way, and getting respect for it. That's a whole nother story. But there's a lot of nights where your team becomes important. Where my sister, has to call and check on me because she knows this didn't happen this day, or I was supposed to have this deal didn't go through, or this messed up, or whatever happened didn't happen. And you okay? Everything all right? Saying, do you need anything? Are you crying right now? We'll say those kind of things. Jasmine the same way. You know, um, so but that support. Ghana is a big reason of why I am where I am, and I support her 100%. Whatever she needs, I'm there. You know, and for me, it's funny because I'm very protective of women in particular. Very protective of women, those around me and stuff like that. So and I know I probably get on Yana and Jasmine's nerve because they think I'm overprotective of everything. Like they can't go nowhere without me going with them. If it gets dark outside, you go to the store, I'll go with you. We don't say it, or we need we go, that kind of situation. But again, that's what love is, and that's what
Yeah.
that's the God spirit in me to protect and to make sure everybody's okay, and the team player to make sure that we're all a team. I mean, even for you, if you need something, I'm gonna be there. If I got to even shout out the rest of my team, you included, and my girl Sandy. Sandy's another one who, if I need her to come, she's another host of one of the shows. Her show will be back on the Soul City show, on the Soul City Airways, hopefully soon. But she's back doing all the live shows. But she's another one that, hey, Sandy, let's just go hang out. And she'll just call me and we'll just go hang out. We'll just go somewhere and drink and eat and just talk and laugh and so forth and so on. And you need that. I know I need it sometimes. It's a release for me to get away from the pressure. Because eventually, pressure, what they say, pressure bursts pipes. And, so you got to release the pressure. You got to find a way to breathe. And, my way of breathing is just to relax, have fun, go out, do something different, laugh, have a drink, and tomorrow will be another day.
Awesome. So again, like you've been stressing that it's about having that group of people who really care about who you are as in general. So you
even my
said,
spiritual group, I gotta include them too. My spiritual group. I have a spiritual group that we meet every Sunday and we talk and we, we embrace each other. We, uplift each other. So I gotta include them, into the fold as well.
Absolutely. So you're secured. Your pantry is secured. Oh yeah, no, he don't listen at times, but something I'm happy that Dr. B said that. Something you said when we were talking, you basically said she's there to lift you up even when you don't listen.
Right.
And that's the most important thing ever. Have someone when you are at your darkest moment to lift you up, to remind you that it is okay. So my question for you, and you said it, so I'm just trying to figure, it's just figuratively that you have those tearful nights, or do you actually cry?
Sure. Trust me. I don't mind telling people I cry. I think it's important that you do cry because if you hold it in, it will destroy you, I believe. It'll eat away at you.
Can you say that again?
I said if you don't cry physically, and especially if you have a lot of moments that are stressful, that's how I think people burst. That's why pressure breaks pipes. People burst and do things out of character. They go ballistic and whatever else going on, or they destroy themselves, physically, mentally and physically. I think it's important to, shed a couple tears if you need to. You know what I'm saying? That's why you do it. Saying if you wasn't supposed to cry, you wouldn't be able to do it. I think it's important so I'm not ashamed to say it. I told people, men should cry. There's no reason why you should not cry. If you, now if you cry all the time for no reason, that's a different story. You know what I'm saying? But if you're doing something, the stress in life, the purpose in life, I'm a big baby, so it's my one of my best friends. He buried his mother the other day. I was at the funeral, and I was in tears just knowing that she was gone, but she was like a second mother to me. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with crying. So I do it. I really do it. So not often, but I do it enough.
Awesome. That's like a breath of fresh air to like really hear that, because men are taught not to cry, not to show emotions, and we want to normalize that it's really okay to shed a tear if you need to. I think also, just sitting here listening to you, it's making me wonder, what can we do outside of this space to consistently? Yeah, Benita Johnson says, crying is healthy. I missed that. You moved it too fast. Crying is healthy. I don't trust anyone who doesn't, and you have a right to. Awesome point, Benita Johnson. It's
Mhm.
like creating spaces where we could have these dialogues, right?
Mhm.
And so men know it's okay. But like I said earlier, when we're backstage, it's like sometimes when men are in relationships, romantic relationships, right? They do not necessarily have a good fit in terms of a partner who's also healed that can carry them. And I'll repeat that. Our Black men need sisters that can carry them and allow them to show their vulnerability. Um, we ask to be nurtured in
Mhm.
relationships. And I
Mhm.
think it's the same thing, like our men, they need to be nurtured as well. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, I think this is like a great shift for us. We're not moving too far, but you talk about Soul City, you talk about the joy it brings you. And when did you pivot and how did you pivot to creating Soul City? I heard the hunger, so we could start with the hunger and then how you were able to get it done orchestrated logically.
Mhm. Again, it was 2000, somewhere in the mid 2008, something like that, maybe. Um, when Jan and I was doing the poetry stuff. Hottest Poets was doing very well. We were every week packing houses, doing the poetry slams, and um, again, that's where I got the Jones to really go to TV. I said I had the opportunity to go to TV. We were doing some stuff with BT and VH1 and MTV, and um, uh, I had this feeling I need to go to TV to do this. But then that didn't happen with them because I just didn't let it happen. But um, there were some opportunities, and I said, no, I can do this myself. Why can't I do this myself? I started studying again. I've always been involved in television and production and in some form of fashion since I was 16 on public access TV. I learned how to work cameras and edit and stuff like that since I was 16 years old. So I always had that in my blood. But I said there's another way to do it. So I started looking at that point live streaming became very big. It was coming on. And I think Yana, we remember one time in the office, I was studying um live stream. I said we got to live stream this show, and nobody was doing it at that point. Only one person I knew that was doing it was new, and that person actually, and I never met him, but I came close to actually meeting him and talking to him. Was what's this guy from Shark Tank? Mark Cuban. He had a company that's how he made his money from his live stream company that he sold for like $20 billion. But that was kind of the impetus for me to get it. And Jan was like, okay. And I said, we got to do this. And BET was bordering me at the time. And I said, we need a black channel that's really going to do something and bring some fun to it and bring some information to the public. And here comes Soul City. I created Soul City, and it was as God would have it. Again, nothing happens by chance because, again, I'm a metaphysician. So, everything is, if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you think it, you can do it. So on and so on. So the thought was in there, and a good friend of mine who I've not talked to in ages, Chris Cameron, called me out the blue, and some kind of way he got wind of me wanting to start a TV network. And I don't know. To this day, I have to talk to him about it. But he asked me, "Hey, how you going with your TV network?" I said, "Yeah, I'm getting close, trying to figure out this thing." He said, "Well, maybe I can help you." He started telling me that he is the only black distributor of cable TV networks at that time. And I think he still is. So his distribution, all of them, Verizon, Comcast, you name it. Um, and I was like, "Really?" So he said, "Yeah." We started talking. So long story short, I signed up with him under distribution for him, and he's my distributor to this day. And we launched in 20, 2017, 2016, sorry, 2016. Um, and I never forget, I came home from poetry one night. It was a Tuesday night coming home from Mocha. And I came home and I stood in the living room. I was standing in front of the TV and something in me said, turn the TV on and look for your network. And I was like, okay. So I turned the TV on and, we're on the on-demand side. So I went to on-demand and blah, 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 blah. And lo and behold, there was the Soul City logo on Verizon Files. And I was like, oh, I don't want to push right now, but I can't. I said, oh shit. That's what I said. And I clicked the button and there it was. All the programs I started creating for him was on there. And I stood in the living room crying.
Wow.
I
Tears of joy.
Yep. Tears of joy. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I think I woke Yana up and everybody else and said, hey, blah, blah, blah. And we never looked back since. But yeah, that was the impetus was to create quality programming. I got tired of what I call ghetto programming on television that there is now, and wanted to do something that was uplifting and more fun, edgy, but not ghetto. You know what I'm saying? I'm using the right word, but so there we are, and here we are today, still doing it, getting bigger and bigger, and more programs. We got the Bold Show, and we got I believe if everything goes according to plan, within the next month we'll have four new shows that we'll be launching, and there'll be a couple new shows coming on with us, and we're having some fun. It ain't easy, but I'm having fun.
Awesome. That's incredible. And again, it's just believing in yourself and doing the necessary work. You talk about, educating yourself and connecting yourself with the right people. So good job. Soul City. How did you come up with that name? Why Soul City?
Because I believe we're all, Black folks in particular, but all of us, we have a soul first. We have a soul. And the soul of who you are comes out in what you do. And so, for me, it's always been tap into your soul and reach deep into your soul and find what it is that you find joy at or that you want to do. And so, and so Soul City, I said, well, we just want to have a city full of soulful people. And that's how the mayor of Soul City came up, because, we said we're going to create this city. Yes, go. And my goal is to have a city, literally my own city. That is Soul City. It's just, right now it's virtual. I'm gonna have a real virtual Soul City soon. We're working on that right now. That will launch and have a lot of different things going. Be stores and everything and shopping, and you can do a whole bunch of things. So yeah, that's how it came up. I just thought it was something different, something cool. I didn't want to say black because everybody uses the word black, and I said, let's get spiritual way and call it soul. So there it is.
Find what sets your soul on fire and move it. I love to say that because that's the heart of who we are. And it goes back to what you said originally about finding joy. Finding joy in whatever it is that we do. So it sounds as if you have these incredible goals. I probably sometimes shock you. How do you get up every single day? Having Soul City, that's not easy. Get up and you keep moving. Talk to me about that. And moments when you feel as if you just want to stay in bed. You don't want to look at the computer because you're glued to the computer.
Yeah, well, that's my issue. It's hardly ever a time I don't want to get up. I like getting up. I get up, that means I'm alive and I can breathe. And thank God I can get up. I get up. I wish I had more time away from my computer, because I sleep somewhere between 4 to 6 hours a day. And the rest of that time is spent in front of my computer or in meetings. Or like right now, the summer's coming up, so we'll be in heavy production, coming up very soon with a lot of live events. But, I get up because I can. I get up because I'm supposed to. And I get up because there's a whole bunch of people around me counting on me getting up and keep moving because they're supporting me. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take lightly the work that Jasmine does, that Benny does, that Yana does, that you do, that Sandy does, or any of the other hosts on the show do. You guys put your trust in me to keep this thing moving and to help build your careers or to get your word out there, to get your message out there. And I don't take that lightly, and for me, it's, I got to get up. Am I perfect? Hell no. Now, I'm not perfect. I've made a couple of mistakes or things didn't go the way I planned them to go, but that doesn't mean I can't fix it. It'll all get fixed, at some point. But I get up because I have to, because people are counting on me to get up for them, and it's fun. It's fun. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's rough sometimes, but it makes me stronger and tougher. So
Love it all. I love how excited you are to wake up in the morning. I think that's a big issue that we have. Because I remember sometimes going into the office and folks would be like, "What are you smiling? Why are you so happy?" Of course, I'm going to be happy. I will be.
Yeah.
Because the gift of life is not a guarantee.
That's right.
And I think sometimes it becomes so entitled, and we think that this is what should be, so we forget to gratitude. What's next for you? You've conquered Soul City. You sound like you're such a creative person. You have an abundance mindset.
Good question. I don't know. What's next? Whatever the next step for Soul City is, that's next. Got a couple of projects that we're working on, so that's that. We'd love to get married, and settle down if that can even be done. But I don't know. Wherever the wind blows, wherever God takes me, wherever the universe has in store for me, I'm ready. My whole thing is just that I just have to just make it. I have to make a difference in this world. That's all. So whatever's next, I'm ready for it. Let's have some fun. And I don't think God doesn't ever give me anything that I can't handle. So, I'm good.
What is dating like for you as a woman?
What is that? What is that? I don't date. I'm busy. Yana's probably laughing and she always says him and these women. But honestly, I really don't. I haven't been out in ages. My last relationship broke up a year and a half ago. And I'm married to my work right now. Doesn't mean that I'll stay that way or that I want to stay that way. It's just, it is what it is, and so, and I'm very picky too. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. I love it. Live day as you get up and as you go, because more time guarantees us anyway, right? So that's a good way and a good attitude to have. So in terms of, you talked about earlier about being really protective of the person you love. How do you protect yourself?
By not getting involved with foolishness. If people get on my nerves and I just know that they're not the right person for me to be around, I just leave them alone. I don't get upset. I don't get angry. I just don't leave them alone. I just don't talk to them anymore. That's me. I just leave it alone. And just stay away from situations that probably aren't good for me to be in the first place. That's it. I think it's pretty simple for me. I just stay away from issues, and I just always pray that I'm surrounded by peace, by peace, and I'm good.
Protecting your peace is so important.
Yep, peace is very important to me.
You are so passionate about giving back to the community and always being there for others. Do you have an issue with saying no?
Sometimes. I say it often because I can't. If I know I can't, then I have to say no. And so I'll try to find a way to help them some kind of way, or somebody else that can help them or whatever. But I don't like saying no, but I know sometimes you have to, because I can't solve every problem, or I can't help everybody. But my goal is to be able to help more people tomorrow than I did today, and each day keep on down that same line. So yeah, but if I think if I can, it's an old adage. Old Dow was saying that if every man would help his neighbor, no man would be without help. I live with that. That's how I live. So,
what are the top three things that you enjoy?
Say it again.
What are the top three things you enjoy?
That brings me joy?
Yes.
Okay.
Outside of Soul City, of course.
Okay, boy. Okay. Brings me joy. Music. Sitting by the water, or being on the water. I can't swim, but being on the water, on the boat or by the water, is calming to me. I can meditate, and so that meditation type of situation is good for me. Music, and just being with friends, being with people who I enjoy being with, whether it's Yana or Jasmine, or some other friends, and just laughing, having a good time laughing. I think laughing heals you, no matter what internally is broken in you. Laughter can actually, I believe, cure it. So I like to laugh. I like to make people laugh. So
they have this adage: laughter is a good medicine for the soul. So keep laughing. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Most adventurous thing I've ever. Oh well, let me see. Most adventurous thing. I can watch what I say. But I was a wild boy at one point. Still am, I guess. But I don't. You know what? I had a fear of flying all my life. I turned down musical gigs and opportunities to play places and do things in other countries or whatever. I didn't like to fly. I was fearful of flying. But I don't have that fear no more. So I got on the plane one day and said, you know what? I'm getting on the damn plane. That's when I got married many years. It was the first time getting on the plane. And I was like, I'm gonna get this plane. And so yeah, so I don't. That probably was the most adventurous thing I did, was getting on the plane. So I don't have that fear of flying. I don't like long flights if I can avoid them. We went to Senegal last year. That was a long flight, but that was probably it. Unlike you, jumping out of planes and stuff like that, but never catch me doing that.
Okay, I'm a little daredevil. It's okay. If you had one wish, what would that be? Why? Just one.
What would that one wish be?
And why?
That we all could live our lives to the fullest. And if that was possible, there would be many, 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 many happy people in the world.
You're such a man of your word. Not a selfish bone in you. Thank you, and we thank your grandmother. We thank all the fabulous women that helped to make you who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
What's some words of comfort and wisdom that you'd like to leave with our viewers?
Don't be afraid to go after your dreams. Never give up. Believe in yourself. Just always believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. You can do it. I'll just leave it there.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to say thank you so much.
Thank
it was
you.
an honor to have you in this space, in this conversation with us. And before we close, I'd just like to say to folks, give yourself permission to say you're not okay, and then give yourself permission to seek the help you need. Yana says that he's very picky, right? He can't help himself.
I like him.
Having a grandmother and fabulous
That's right.
women
I'm spoiled.
very difficult, right? So, good night, everyone. It was indeed a pleasure to be in this space to have this important conversation. Let's continue to normalize for more Black that you need to heal and it's okay to be vulnerable. Shed some tears like Mark. Take care of yourselves. With pleasure. See you all. Love you all. Good night.
Have a good night.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.